2, 3, 4. The Vinyl Man on YouTube. The Vinyl Man on YouTube. The Vinyl Man on YouTube. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. The Vinyl Man on YouTube.
Welcome to the live stream. We've got a punk special for you this evening. It's going to be amazing. Just going to go through the panel real quick with you. So we've got Joe from Racer Joe joining me again this evening. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Loving the top. Looking good, son. Ian from Cardiff. Thank you for joining me again, Ian. When I realised I wanted to do a punk episode, I couldn't really leave you out. You're my Instagram guy on Instagram when it comes to punk and discovering new music. So thanks for joining this evening.
No, thanks for having me.
It's all right, no worries. Okay, the chairman of the VC is joining us tonight, Steve Carlson, who got me originally into punk, believe it or not, from his early morning Sunday show, which we all know about. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, because I am the punkiest looking guy in the VC. There's no doubt. You look at him and go, oh, that guy's totally punk. Glad to be here, Chris, and it is interrupting nap time, but that's okay.
I'll try and make this quick.
All right.
I'll try and keep you awake. Also, we've got Christian from the Vinyl Sanctuary. Thank you for coming on again. Christian has been on before with me. Pretty excited about this one. Thanks for coming back, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me back. Really appreciate it. And it's lovely to meet you, gentlemen, as well.
So, yeah. I've been trying to plan this for a while. Me and Joe been talking about it, and he's like, well, if we're going to do a punk, I'm like, well, I got to get Ian on. I can't leave out Steve. And then I kind of sent a message to Christian this week. I was like, even to punk? He was like, hell yes. So I want to get Christian back on because he's very knowledgeable when it comes to music. So I thought it'd be a cool episode to have him on that kind of situation. But yeah, it's cool. Okay, I'm just going to go through the panel real quick. We're going to have a quick discussion first, see how it goes. We got some records to show you guys. It's going to cost you a fortune. I know it's going to cost me money because I've already got a notepad and pen and I'm ready to go. So, Joe, let's go to you first this evening. Punk music, has it always been there for you from the start, or are you kind of new into it?
No, it's always been there. I was born in 65, so, I was 12, 13-ish around when, the bulk of it, I guess, was happening 76, 7, 8, 9, around there. And then it bled in a little bit into the 80s as well. So, I was around for the Ramones, and I was around for, when I was around, I was alive. They were performing. I wasn't around, unfortunately, for the Ramones, but the Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, the Yachts. There was so much of that going on. I had a buddy that was really, really into it. I was a little bit more of a headbanger, but you can be a bit of a headbanger and be a punk fan, I think, at the same time. I think they kind of blend well with each other. So Clash, the Clash is my greatest regret ever of missing a concert. I was 14. I was staying at my aunt's house in Calgary. Nobody would go, and they wouldn't let the 14-year-old go to the concert by himself. So I missed the Clash, and that was my only opportunity. So that's my greatest regret, is not being able to see the Clash back in 1980 in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So
cool. I'm going to go to Steve next, because this is pretty much the whole reason why I started collecting punk music for the last couple of years. If you watch his early morning Sunday show, or any time in the week when he released the video, as you can tell by the T-shirt, I'm kind of going with, was that the band that got you into punk, or was it slightly before then, Steve?
Well, I was in college when punk hit big, but I went to college in Middle America. We didn't have a clue about punk. I remember there was two guys down the hall. They were big Elton John fans, but they loved singles. They bring over the single. Hey, listen to this. It's a Sex Pistol single. Isn't that the worst thing you've ever heard, or whatever, and just like, it didn't mean anything to me. But in 82, when I was now working, there was an assistant manager. We were two assistant managers. He came over to look at my record collection. He liked records. He goes, oh man, your collection sucks. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. So he goes, I'm going to get you something. And he went back to his house and he brought over the Cramps, the songs the Lord taught us, the Clash, London Calling, the Stiff Little Fingers, and the Sex Pistols. And he goes, here, take these and listen to them. And I was blown away by it. And so, yeah, 82 is when I got hit with it. And yeah, I've been a lover since. And some people tire of it. I've yet to tire of it. I'm still chasing stuff.
Yeah.
This too, Steve. I think that's a great point that Trevor makes. Is you guys are both from the area where MC5 Stooges not always considered to be the birth of punk, but they are certainly, they have to be considered to be that. I think, right?
Yeah, they are proto-punk. Definitely proto-punk. The Stooges, Death. I think you said Death, and MC5. All three of those, because Detroit was on fire. I mean, Detroit. It was so bad at that time. They'd had all the riots in the late 60s and killings, and so everyone in Detroit was really pissed off. Yeah. And so it was a perfect breeding ground for this kind of music that then, of course, turned into punk.
Yeah.
Cool. Christian, when did you get into punk?
Well, I feel that my introduction to punk was probably through my brother. So I'm from a very large family, and my brother is 11 years older than me. Now, he wasn't around for punk in its original wave, but he really got into it at a relatively early level for him in terms of age. I think he was sort of, maybe late junior school going into early high school, but he was a huge fan of the Jam, massive fan of the Jam. Now, it can be argued as to whether the Jam are technically punk. Obviously, they had the two albums that came out in 1977. I think they were definitely a group that played 60s influenced rock with a punk edge to it. They had that sort of freneticism and that fire and fury that came with punk. And that was certainly a gateway for my brother in terms of him then going back and listening to the likes of the Pistols and the Clash and those sorts of groups. So I think the Jam were the group that maybe opened my eyes to the genre. But my favourite all-time band are the Manic Street Preachers. So I was born in 82. So I grew up in the 90s. So the Manics were my band. And they still are to this day. And two primary influences on the Manic Street Preachers were the Clash and the Sex Pistols. So because of my love of the Manics, I then worked backwards and started to really get into the UK punk. And then as a result of that, I was listening to other groups, in the sort of mid-late 90s. The likes of Green Day and some of the power pop stuff, Weezer, Fountains of Wayne, groups like that. And they were influenced by groups like the Buzzcocks and Stiff Little Fingers. So for me, it seemed to be that I was discovering music that was contemporary at the time, but I always made sure that I did my homework and tracked back to where those roots were. So I do have a brother to thank to getting me into the genre originally, but then I did a lot of searching of my own, just through tracing back the roots of groups that I was listening to as I was a teenager and just absorbing as much music as I possibly could. I couldn't get enough of it. And I suppose that's not really changed 30 odd years later. So
yeah, cool. Ian, you're on mute. There you go. Okay. We go to Ian now. He is my Instagram person when it comes to punk. I feel like you were born with a punk record. But where did it start from you, Ian?
It started with buying Now records. Really. So yeah, for those who don't know, in the UK we get like the hits of that year or of that part of the year called like Now 47 or Now 48, and it'll have the biggest hits of that time put in a compilation CD. So I was getting that. I was just like listening to the radio, getting those. But it was similar to Christian, it was my brother's influence really. So he was big into like just live music at the time. He was a little bit older than me, and he gave me Green Day, Dookie, Insomniac, and Nimrod on CD to start off with, and it just opened the floodgates to everything. Because I was just starting high school at the time as well. So around that time, there was people listening to Goldfinger, there was people listening to Offspring, Blink-182, like stuff like that. So I was sort of ingrained into having to listen to pop punk stuff, and I was just in school just lapping all that up, getting cassette tapes being made for me, going to my local like news agents and pre-ordering a CD that in 2 weeks' time would come in, and I'll get it. So that's kind of where it all started. And then I took a stop from listening to all that sort of stuff, and I was getting into more heavy stuff, so like thrash, so like Slayer or Metallica's, stuff like that. And it wasn't until sort of like Garage Days came out with Metallica that they did a lot of covers of punk songs. So songs by bands like GBH and Discharge and Misfits and things like that, which just made me want to listen to the originals. Sort of similar to like rap music, if the song's been sampled, you want to listen to where the samples come from. So it was similar to that. I wanted to listen to where the original came from. And then again, it took a bit of a hiatus and stuff like that. But in terms of collecting now, it really came down to, I listen to all sorts now, but in terms of collecting like punk and hardcore punk and things like that, it came down to when I was flicking through the bins in record stores, stuff like that, I felt in the new arrival section, or if I was going to the punk section, it was a punk record that was giving me the whoa, I found it, whereas I never got that with any other records. So I kind of like set my record collection to a niche, and it's pretty much all I listen to now. But I want to soak up the history of it. I've read countless books on different bands. The whole DIY aspect of like how the hardcore scene in the early 80s absolutely fascinates me. I love watching stuff about it. I just think everything about it is just perfect for how I want to digest my music going forward. And like you said, it's but I ended up choosing a genre of music and going down a rabbit hole of wanting to get like the pressings from that time or the earliest I can from that time, and it does cost money. And apart from probably jazz, it's one of probably the most expensive genres of record collecting to get. But being in Wales, it doesn't come by that often. You find it every so often. But I'm lucky. And like Chris, if you venture down this way, you'll sort of know that we've just got like a weird like punk scene in Wales. It was quite big in the 80s, like especially in Newport. Newport had like a really good like vibrant punk scene where a lot of bands were coming down to play. So obviously, if you think of TJs, you think of like Nirvana playing TJs in Newport, but a lot of punk bands played Newport at that time in TJs. So a lot of local bands were learning from them and supporting them on their tours, because they didn't have enough money to bring their own support acts, so they would get local bands to support them at the time. So Wales, like Cardiff, for instance, is just it's got such a ripe history for that sort of scene. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's something I look at something about it every day. It's just it's just a fascinating thing for me.
Yeah,
that's why, basically. That's my long answer.
I'm often sending messages to Steve and to Ian. This is for you two. Kind of, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Where would you start with this? Where would you start with that? And it gets to the stage, I think, where Steve just goes, "Yes, Chris." Yeah, it started. Punk started for me in the late 90s, going into the 2000s. Like you said, you had the Green Day, you had your Offspring. That was kind of my punk era. But now, thanks to certain people on YouTube, I am discovering bands like what Joe is wearing at the moment. I'm on an absolute massive kick with them. I've even been picking up live albums, which I've kind of taken a risk on. They've turned out amazing.
Yeah.
There'll be a video coming soon. Recent pickups. I was counting them tonight. I think I got 15 to 20 I've picked up in the last month. But I'm enjoying it, going to the record shop, picking them up. And I find myself walking in there now and going, I just say to the guy, "Where's the punk?" Just going straight for the punk. It's an amazing ride, actually. So I quite enjoyed it, and like watching people on YouTube, watching people on Instagram, giving good recommendations of maybe try this out. Like I would have never heard of the Cramps, right? If I'm being honest, if I didn't watch Steve's show, and I was so excited the other day that Rough Trade are reissuing it on like a yellowy orange kind of splatter vinyl, and I was like, "Oh look, Steve." And before he could reply, I went, "I've ordered it."
Are you enjoying it, Chris? Then what you like? What you have discovered with the Cramps? Is it definitely your cup of tea?
If I'm being honest, the only album I have been listening to is the one that Steve has been recommending, which I think this be a good gateway actually to go to Steve.
Yeah.
The album, I can't even think of the album's called now. My mind's gone completely blank, but he'll tell you now.
Well, it's right back there. It's bad music for bad people. I never put it away. It's like, you could say it's the greatest hits, but it's only after one album and one EP. Then they put this out with everything put together on there. But yeah, that is that early Cramps was the psychobilly. Then they went into what I call sexobilly because it came a lot more about sex than creatures or whatever. So they kind of changed. But I do have their complete discography, but their live stuff, there's no way you can keep up with it, and some of it's really bad. So you got to pick and choose through the Cramps with that.
Wow.
Cool. Steve, do you want to tell the story how you convinced a record store owner to give you one of the copies that you've been searching for ages?
Yeah, well, actually it was bad music for bad people. I had been looking at forever. I was at a record show and I was looking for it, couldn't find it. It was in Denver. And as I'm walking out there, suddenly it was like, oh my God, that's it. And I got so excited. I went and I bought it. I didn't even look at it. I just, that's it. And I bring it home. It was a freaking bootleg. A bootleg. And so I was like, oh God, So after having, talking to psychologists for about 3-4 months, and I got over it. But I went to this other record store where I had filmed twice in there. And so I knew the guy and he knew me. And he had this glass case where he has all his good stuff, and right there in front is this bad music for bad people. And I pretty much pissed my pants right there. I go, oh my God, is that an original?
Looks material was like that, Steve. I think
I'm old. It's common for us old people. But so he goes. And so I take it out, and I'm just, it's glowing, there's like rays coming out of this thing. Angels are singing to me. And, it's not priced too bad, but it's still fairly high. And he goes, you've been always good. When you film here, new customers come in. I'm going to give you a great deal on that. And he goes, I know it's going to the right person. And he goes, it is, because it was, there's 2 albums I was missing, but that one was so important. Again, I had that one I bought the record show. I want the original. And so, yeah, life's been good ever since. I haven't had to go to the psychologist now. So it's all been great. Yeah.
Well
I'm
done.
a better person.
Brilliant.
Cool. Joe, I think we'll go to the comments real quick. I noticed there's a person from Sweden in the live chat tonight.
There is.
Hey.
Right there. Christopher, I guess. Christopher. I'm going to go with Christopher. If I'm getting it wrong, Chris, our apologies. But this is the punk show, so just get over it. Oh, wait a second. That's
You said 1, 2, 3, 4. Go.
naughty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, we got the Naughty Vampire. I'm not sure if that's a male Naughty Vampire or if a female Naughty Vampire, but it's a Naughty Vampire all the same, either way. Who else have we got? Adrian's here. Adrian's with us often, so that's kind of cool. Hello, Adrian. Nice to see you. And Little Bits as well. Hey, all. Hey,
That's
Little.
Liz.
Well, there you go.
That's Liz. Yeah.
Hi, Liz.
Hey,
We were actually watching Steve this morning in bed, but we'll move on quickly. So just in case you two
don't think you need to talk about that. Do you?
I will talk about this, right? Because this is an important part of a Sunday morning. So what tends to happen is because Steve releases his video early Sunday morning. So I'll go downstairs, make me and Liz a cup of coffee. She's on Instagram scrolling through, I don't know, the 23rd pair of jeans that she fancied, even though there's a bag full of them or whatever. I mean, kind of what, and I put YouTube on the TV in the bedroom, and then I am drinking my coffee, watching Steve. So when I say I'm in bed, we're in bed watching Steve. In bed watching Steve.
Little clarification then, yeah.
So
just in case you were wondering, Steve, there's often people. Oh wait, that's the same person he was just talking about. Never mind. We often watch Steve in bed.
Those guys looking for cameras. They're watching.
Hold on a sec, yeah. And then Jess M is also here, and I love the Cramps at the mental asylum, recording at the mental asylum. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
The recording's awful, but it is just the most awesome video. If you haven't seen it, when they went play, I mean, the patients were getting up on stage, and it's just like, it's actually kind of scary looking, but it was perfect for the Cramps. Oh, God, video.
Imagine Folsom Prison Blues and all of the convicts coming up on stage, but a little bit different. Chris, you mentioned the one is coming out. They are also reissuing a couple others. I just was looking at my suppliers list. So Bad Music for Bad People, Psychedelic Jungle, and Songs the Lord Taught Us, at least in Canada, those are all getting a reissue. So if you're out there looking for some reissues, they're all coming back out. It says April the 10th. So that could be here. I'm not sure, but that's from my Canadian distributor anyway.
I think the one I just ordered from Rough Trade, I think that's, I want to say April time as well. So they may be releasing them kind of around, but they're on, when I went on Rough Trade, Steve, I'm not sure if you know about Rough Trade.
I do.
Okay. But there was the only one Cramps on there. So unless they're staggering it out because they want to sell the first kind of album and then go from there and see how that run goes, because otherwise, why wouldn't they have the rest of them on there? That was my thinking, but I can't think for myself usually. But you know,
the label's Hippo Records, and again, according to my supplier, there's the three of them on April the 10th. So, and they're actually pretty reasonably priced. They're not going to be, I mean, they're $26 Canadian cost. So for me, that'd probably be like $38, $39 Canadian. So everybody else can do the math. Their own math there, because I don't do that. I do other things on this stream. I don't do the math though. So
yeah. So Liz is just confirming what I just said. We do watch them. Okay. I feel like Joe, we need to move on. Right.
Yeah. Are we moving? Where are we moving on to?
I don't know. Wait, too. So okay. Can I just talk about live concerts when it comes to punk? Ian. I bet you've been to a live concert with punk, mate.
There's been quite a few. I've got a poster on the wall up here, which was from last year, which was like, it was a crazy bill. So they came to Bristol, did a UK tour, but it was headlined by the Descendants, and then supported by Circle Jerks and Negative Approach. And Negative Approach are my favorite. Like that Seven by them is just incredible. But just seeing like John Brannon live, like at his age now as well, and they've been around for so long, but he's still incredible. Like the band was incredible, but like Circle Jerks are incredible. I mean, you know, Keith Morris is like the lead singer. I think he's just turned 70. I think he's past 70 now, but he's amazing, like one of the absolute godfathers of hardcore. And then Descendants, one of my all-time favorites. just stealing the show. But that was an incredible night. Wasn't something that I was expecting really to see so close to home. So that was amazing. But there's been a lot of like local stuff. So in Newport, which I mentioned earlier about like the scene there was really good. There's actually a punk only venue called the Cab, which is a really small room. Like it probably fits 150 like sardines, and a lot of the time they, every so often they'll get like a really, really established band. So Cro-Mags are playing later this year. Also Agnostic Front are playing later this year. DRI are playing later this year. So like all these crossover bands, all these like OG hardcore punk bands are all playing Newport, and it's just got a really good reputation because that's the only place they're playing, like in Wales, basically. So a lot of those I'll be heading to, but it's a bit lively in there because you still get the people doing the whole like kung fu kicks and the elbows and stuff like that around. But if you're not into that and you're a little bit too old, you stick to the sides.
I hope there's less spitting than there used to be. Now I was never at a show where there was, but I hope that isn't something that has moved forward. I hope
no, it's but it's not that I've ever experienced like in the last few years that I've been going, but no, it's pretty good now. apart from the flying elbows. But
that's okay. I'll take a flying elbow versus getting spit on. That's for sure.
Absolutely, I second
absolutely,
that.
Yeah. We'll stay British. And Christian, have you been into any concerts when it comes to punk?
When it comes to punk, well, the punk band I've watched the most is probably the Buzzcocks, and obviously I caught them, when they were well into their, should we say, the latter stages of their career. Obviously being where I'm from in this part of the world, I'm located between Liverpool and Manchester, with my leanings being towards, very much Manchester, and with the Buzzcocks being a local group. I have managed to see them quite a number of times. A very memorable time I watched them, they had The Fall supporting them. The Fall are another band who I love a lot, post-punk group. And then growing up, I suppose, like I said earlier, in the 90s, I did see Blink-182 one year. I think that was at Leeds Festival. I think I saw them. Might have been 2000 maybe. So I was about 18. Saw like a couple of the grunge groups back in the day as well, who were obviously taking their cues from punk. Bands like Pixies, for instance. I know I'm supposed to be keeping to the UK, but being influenced by groups like Husker Du and that hardcore movement. So I think, because of my age, I've seen more groups who have been influenced by punk as opposed to seeing the punks themselves, just through age more than anything. But those memories of watching Buzzcocks in particular will always stay with me, because they always sounded fantastic live. And I've always just been a huge fan of Pete Shelley's songwriting. Beautiful melodies with very romantic lyrics. They were never political in that way, in terms of their approach to punk with the Buzzcocks, but they would always be able to deliver a killer riff with wonderful choruses, beautiful song structures. So I do have a real soft spot for Buzzcocks. Yeah.
Cool. Joe, I bet you've been to a few in your day.
Well, no, I have, I guess. Just a couple quick ones out of the comments. Trevor with Negative Approach. Trevor's probably seen some shows as well. Trevor likes to bang his head, but I'm sure he also likes to punk rock a little bit as well. And then we've got Warp Dog with us as well, who has been on from time to time, but nice to see you. And then I like this one from Jess, 70-year-old punks, less spitting, more drooling. Depends on the time of the show. I don't know if there's matinee punk shows or not, but anyway. I have. I saw a couple years ago, we were at Ottawa Blues Fest, if you can imagine or not. And there's a band out of Toronto in Canada called Pup that are pretty heavy, pretty decent, very good. And then Billy Talent is another band that has some critical acclaim elsewhere, and is on we've already talked about it. There are a lot of shoots off of punk. There's the traditional stuff, there's the hardcore stuff, there's the modern power poppy punk or whatever, the Green Days, the Blink-182s, there's a lot of that. So yeah, so I saw those two, and then I saw, and I mean, it's weird because you're at a punk show, but you're also at a punk show with 30,000 other people at a baseball stadium because it's Green Day. So it's still a punk show, but it's not the same as in that small club, right? Like that's, I think, where I think most of us think about punk shows. But again, arguably whether Green Day is or isn't, and I think that they are. You know, I saw them, and then Rancid was also one of the openers for them. So that was a fantastic show. Smashing Pumpkins, which don't really fall into the category, but they kind of fit the bill. So yeah, a few along the lines, but none of the good stuff, I think, like some of the others. And I'm not sure some of the stuff that Steve's been to, specifically some of the shows, but because you obviously had more opportunity. There wasn't a big punk community in Regina and Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. We like our punk up here, but there wasn't that big of a community, or maybe I didn't just go that often, but you had much more opportunity in the venues that you would have had around, I think, right?
Well, Joe, I'm going to hate to disappoint you on that. I've never been to a punk show.
Well, there you go.
There you go. We lived, I mean, my jobs kept me moving, and we generally were a couple hours from the nearest big city where something might come in, where I was at, they were more apt to be a polka show or a country western show.
That's here too. Yeah.
So exciting stuff like that. And I never had anybody to go with. I mean, nobody. I've never had, in fact, in all my travels, generally, there's been no other record collectors that I've ever known. And so it'd just be going solo, telling my wife, hey, take care of the kids. I'm going up 2 hours and then come back. So no, I never have, but I've watched the videos on YouTube and I enjoy that, if that counts. And I play it loud.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, Joanne was at the Blues Fest, and she did pretty good. The pit wasn't right by us, but it was fairly close. We got jostled a little bit. She bailed after the first one though, but she hung in there so she can officially say she was at a full-blown punk show. The one in Toronto, she was at Green Day as well. But yeah, it's like I said, I think there are many different styles of punk, and I think we've already established that. And whether you feel they are or they aren't, it doesn't matter what someone else thinks. If you think they're punk and you like it, then what the heck's the difference? So
that's Joe saying, I don't really care about your opinion. This is what
No, that's not it. No, I don't not care about your opinion, but nobody's wrong if they think something is a specific genre. So there you go. Trevor, again, as a metalhead, a self-professed metalhead, I think it's safe to say, leans into the hardcores. And then Alex is with us from Veer and Vinyl. Good day, sir. Not punk, but maybe punk adjacent. Sure. Picked up Lords of the New Church. There are those certain genres, and I think punk is definitely one of them, Chris, where there have been so many, again, different versions, but then there's been this offshoot, which then turned into this and turned into that, because it's been around for a long time, right? That's the thing. New Wave was after that, and there was so much after that. There was rock, and then there was pop all the way along, and then punk came around in the 70s, and disco lived and disco died, but punk is still alive. So
yeah,
absolutely.
I've been to quite a few shows, if I'm being honest. Since I was about 16, I think me and the boys used to go together. So I've seen bands like Blink-182, I've seen Green Day, I've seen Offspring. There's been quite local ones in Cardiff. There's a club. Ian, you're gonna have to help me up here. My mind's gone blank. Something Bach. What's that?
Club Eva Bach.
Yes, it's a small venue, very, very small venue. It's like walking into a school hall.
Wow.
It's kind of that big, and you can taste the sweat when you walk in. It's kind of that situation. You think, yes, let's go to the bar.
And you know what? To be honest, that's probably the main reason why Joanne left near close to the stage, was just the smell of all the teenage and 20-something old boys and their acts. She just got the hell out of there. She didn't mind the dance, the jostling part, but it was the scent. And she lives with me, so there you go.
Yeah. There's a part of the show we started doing last week that I want to continue doing, and it's the section. It's all down to Joe. So here we go.
it's not just me. It's you too. We talked about this.
Yeah. So this week I've picked one, and funny enough, somebody mentioned it on the panel that I've been watching this week because I am focused into punk at the moment. It's my new thing, so I'm kind of. I watched the story of the Descendants, which is on YouTube. I can put a link in the description below later on if anybody wants to check it out. All right. It is good. That's all I'm saying. Right, I've got all the album now.
There you go.
There it is.
There's a nice original.
Oh, wow.
There he is.
Very nice. You got it as well there,
There you
Ian.
go.
Lovely.
Good.
This one's not an original though. This is
Oh,
SST,
wow.
but it's still.
That's awesome. You both got that.
That's what it looks like. That's the documentary right there.
Yeah, I'll check that out, Chris, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I just thought I'd mention it being used around the punk, and I said to Joe this week, I was like, "Do you want to do a documentary? Because I've just watched The Descendants." He was like, "Hell no, you do it this week. I'm not going to be."
Well, I mean, there's the classic, the fall of Western civilization, right? The Penelope Spheris one. That's obviously something that a person has to watch. And then there's movies, not so much documentaries. There's the CBGB movie, which is pretty good. Alan Rickman plays the gentleman that was the owner, whose name escapes me at the moment, but I'm sure I will be told momentarily somewhere in the comments. That one's pretty good. There's an older movie called Times Square, which has a little bit of punk leanings to it as well. Let me see here quick. This one. It's got the Ramones, and it's got the Pretenders are on here. Who's it got? It's got Lou Reed on here, Roxy Music, Gary Newman. It's pretty good. And then of course there's Sid and Nancy, good old Sid, and then and of course that whole movie, which was actually pretty well done. Gary Oldman is just unbelievable. Gary Oldman continues to be unbelievable. So there's some good punk-based movies, and then there's lots of great punk-based documentaries. But the the decline of Western civilization is certainly one to watch because it's more about the old school. I think if you if you looked up punk in the dictionary, it might be a picture from that movie in it. It's more the traditional, hey, this is what punk was. And now there's so many different ways to get there. But
Cool.
I'll be right back, Chris. I got to step out. Just a second.
Yeah,
Just going to say, Chris, I'm really, really pleased there that Joe showed Times Square because wherever I possibly can, I always get in my love for the Manic Street Preachers. I know I did a little earlier, but there's actually a song that's performed in Times Square called Damn Dog by the band that are in the film. The Manics actually covered that song on their debut album, Generation Terrorist. So that was nice to see Joe talking about Times Square. And I know that Jesse, who's tuning into us, I believe at the moment, or was earlier, he's a huge fan of that film as well.
yeah, it's good. Like there's a little bit of everything on here, but it is it leans towards, and it was the first time that I ever heard the Ramones sedated, which was strange. And if it's a gatefold, you have to show it. I don't know what I just dropped, but anyway, I'm in the album. But anyway, it's good. I watched it a while ago. I don't know that it held up. Sorry, as I bend over here, I think it held up. I'm not positive of that though, but definitely worth a watch. So.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in years. It was a film I saw again because anything at the time that the Manics were sort of referencing or name dropping, films like Rumblefish and stuff like that they were a huge fan of. Motorcycle Emptiness was based on Rumblefish, and I think that was because one of the reasons they became such an important band for me, because a lot of the literary references, cinematic references, and then the punk references, just to keep it on topic tonight with the Pistols and the Clash. I think the Manics just opened my eyes to so many things. And what I also found interesting before was when Ian was talking about the Newport scene. I wonder if the Manics were maybe a part of that, because obviously they were touring around in the late 80s before they sort of broke through in the early 90s. It did make me think when Ian was discussing that scene that maybe the Manics were, because they're based in Blackwood. Now, my Welsh geography isn't great, so I'm not sure where in proximity that would be, Ian, to where you were talking about earlier. But I immediately thought maybe the Manics did have a slight involvement in that scene, perhaps, do you think? Or do you know that from your own research, actually?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, obviously that whole Cool Cymru scene that they're a part of with Stereophonics, Super Furry Animals, stuff like that. But obviously Manics, they've always been that sort of band for me that they were always a little bit away from the Stereophonics and Super Furry Animals, because they were doing more edgy stuff.
Yeah.
They were always like, sort of fighting against the system and things like that. But yeah, in terms of Blackwood, you've got like Cardiff, you've got Blackwood, Newport.
Got it. Right. Okay.
Just the opposite way, but not by a terrible amount.
Right. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if they were heavy within that.
Within that area, because again, it would have been for them about getting gigs where they could locally. I know that James Dean was busking around Cardiff and stuff before he got signed up, but yeah, I'll do a bit of research into that, because when you mentioned that, I did wonder maybe the Manics perhaps passed through and maybe did some support slots of their own with some of those other bands that you mentioned, the bigger groups that were coming in. Maybe they did some gigs with them.
I think. Right. I think. Sorry, just a quick one. I think you'll be quite jealous if you heard that. Sometimes on my lunch break, if I'm walking through the arcade of Cardiff, I'll see Nicky Wire walking in the opposite way.
Oh wow!
Or I'll see James Dean Bradfield just waiting, probably for his partner to come out of Primark. With shopping bags. So yeah, they're often spotted around Cardiff. So just
that's amazing. So, I love that. Keeping it real. No, I love that.
Richie's got a place down in Tenby, down with me.
Nice.
Well.
Richie. Wow. Okay.
So you see him a lot down there. He's tall. You can't miss him. He's got pink hair.
Yeah, Nicky. Yeah, Nicky. You definitely wouldn't miss him, would you? He is quite the focal point of the group, isn't he? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Christian, show me some punk. What have you got?
Show you some punk. Okay. Well, I did talk about them a little earlier, and I do want to make sure that I gave them a bit of a shout out tonight. So I am going to start off with the Buzzcocks. So this isn't a studio album. It is a compilation album, and I think it's one of the best compilation albums out there. Singles Going Steady. And I've always loved the name of it as well, because obviously it's a pun, on the whole singles and going steady and that type of thing. I always thought that was very, very clever. And it is just all killer, no filler, this one. So if you're more into your poppier punk, so again, we've already talked tonight about, groups like Green Day, for instance, who I know were influenced by Buzzcocks, then I do think this would be a great entry point into the genre. So I mentioned a little earlier, they're not politically charged, I would say. They're not, in comparison to groups like The Clash or The Pistols or Stiff Little Fingers. What you've got here is an amazing lyricist in Pete Shelley, who very much has romance as his point of interest, and just had a beautiful way with words, very, very poetic, which I'm sure is, the reason he took Shelley as part of his, his punk name. I mean, a lot of punks did operate under, different names and stuff like that. So on this record, you've got some of the Buzzcocks' greatest ever songs like Ever Fall in Love, I Don't Mind, What Do I Get is brilliant, Everybody's Happy Nowadays, Promises is fantastic. There's a song on here called Lipstick as well, which shares a guitar line with the song Shot by Both Sides by Magazine. The reason being is that Howard Devoto, who went on to form Magazine, was originally in the Buzzcocks, and the pair of them couldn't actually decide who wrote that guitar line. So Pete used it in his song Lipstick, and Howard used it in his song Shot by Both Sides. But yeah, this for me is just a great place to start with punk, in terms of you've got banger after banger. It's very, very short, it's sharp, it's to the point, and it's going to be maybe that entry point that you need, where maybe for people who might not quite vibe with the political side of the genre, you can just experience it in a way where, if you want to hear very, very bittersweet love songs, you are not going to go wrong listening to the Buzzcocks. So that's my first shout of the evening.
Cool. I can see Steve taking notes already.
There's a good album. Any Buzzcocks you should have in your collection.
It's a great album. It's an essential one for me, that, Steve. As I say, I know it's a compilation, and I would highly recommend Buzzcocks studio albums, but I just think if you want to distill everything that was brilliant about the Buzzcocks in terms of what made them so special, so unique, I just think Singles Going Steady is where you need to go. And I think it's pretty easy to pick up as well. I think. I don't think it's too rare.
Naughty Vampire. Great album, Christian. Singles Going Steady.
Yeah, that's the one. It's a great album. Yeah.
Cool.
Cheers,
right.
Naughty.
we'll keep things rocking and rolling. I think I'll go right, Joe. You're gonna have to keep track of this, right? Because we're all over the shop. I'm gonna go to Steve next. Steve, come on, mate. What we got?
Well, first off, I want to show a CD box set, but this is the greatest for punk. This is from Rhino. No Thanks, the 70s Punk Rebellion. And this thing, I mean, I chased so many albums because of this Rhino box set. It was mind-blowing, the groups that are on here. And, you know, there's just a lot of punk groups that I did not know. Now, it is more 70s. They did come out with another one called Left of the Dial that deals with the 80s. That is just absolutely awesome too. But this was great. But as far as vinyl, one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. This is all time. It is the Sex Pistols. I mean, I mean, it's just powerful to me. I still, when I put that on in the car and someone's going by me, they're obviously they think I'm having some kind of fit or something, because I mean, it's an adrenaline rush type album. I could see why people were excited. And, you know, I have a lot of people on my channel, they'll comment, yeah, I was at one of those Sex Pistols shows. Oh my God. And, you know, I thought nobody ever really went to them. I don't know, but this is, to me, it just, I'm excited every time I put it on. I know it's just like, you know, okay, it's not that uncommon. This is a nice Japanese press I was able to get. But I think I have 3-4 copies, different copies of this album because it's a favorite.
And the nice thing is with the Sex Pistols is you can get into the Sex Pistols and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. There's only 2 or 3 other than all the bootlegs and all the rest of it. There's only a couple out there to collect, so it makes it a little easier. You know, before we move on, hold on, wait a sec. How about this for Steve? Okay. Question: Motorhead, punk or no? What do you think?
I got my first Motorhead album last year. I guess to me, when I listened to, which I did like, I've heard people talk about Motorhead for years. I just, okay, it's hard rock or whatever. I just wasn't my thing. I said, no, I'm going to get one. And I got it. And I absolutely loved it, but I didn't think of it as punk. I just thought of that as just a hard rock and hard charging group that could take, you know, that just had power.
Yeah.
Found it very enjoyable.
But I think in a lot of ways it was quite thrash influence, really, Motorhead. And I would recommend a live album to you, Steve, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. That's a fantastic live album. Yeah, a brilliant album, that. And yeah, I think it is a tricky one, like to say, were they punk? I think there's maybe elements in there, but I think with Motorhead, as you say, Steve, there's a lot going on, hard rock, bit of blues, even a bit of like sort of pub rock in there as well. But because it's played at such a frenetic pace, I think that injects the punk spirit into it, just because it's so fast. It's just played just relentless, isn't it? And I think whenever you've got anything that's pretty charged up sonically, it is more often than not going to have a familiarity with punk because of the speed more than anything.
Yeah. Good point.
So obviously Trevor's saying here Motorhead were the first crossover band.
I think that's a fair point. Definitely, yeah, definitely crossover. I mean, you have metalheads who love them, punks were into them, people into thrash, hardcore, blues. I think they just covered the whole gamut, really. And because of Lemmy's history with having been, you know, involved in the prog world with Hawkwind and stuff, you even had a few of the proggers who were maybe more open to the heavier stuff getting into Motorhead as well because of Lemmy's origins. So yeah, they definitely brought a lot of different people together. And as Joe was saying earlier, the thing with punk is you've got so much cross-pollination with loads of different genres all overlapping with each other, and then lots of other genres then being birthed as a result of punk. A lot of the time you can trace it back to punk, just like ultimately you can trace everything back to blues, I suppose, but you get all these different things coming off. Oh, I've seen, Chris, you've got to show that, Chris, you've got to show that. Yeah, I remember this from the first live stream I did with you. Amazing.
Steve mentioned this album, so I just thought, well, I thought in my mind nobody's going to pick it. I was like, it's too obvious. But then I thought, well, everybody's going to pick this. It's the Sex Pistols. This is the Rhino limited edition release that they did October time, I want to say. So there's the front, there's the back, there's the inside.
That's nice.
This
Stunning.
was out of 5,000, I got 3,619. If anybody actually gives a shit, so
We do.
I'll just show the inside because Rhino are really good at these kind of packages. So we got there. I'll show the inside. So
Is that Sex Pistols in high fidelity?
yeah.
Because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Sex Pistols.
Joe, what did I say to you a few weeks ago? Didn't
Yeah,
I
you
say to you this is a bit pointless?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, exactly. You gotta have that as a beat up version, playable but beat up version. Nothing wrong with that one. And the Clash, you have to have London Calling. It's got to have a little bit of age, a little bit of wear to it as well. So
Yeah. Right. Okay. I think Joe, we'll go to you next, mate. What I will say though, I will pick up a beat up copy of the Sex Pistols just to compare the sound, just to see which
Sure.
one is better. And I've got a feeling it's going to be the more raw one, if I be honest, because this has been tuned
maybe.
to sound not like the Sex Pistols. That makes sense.
let me show a couple quick comments here, quick as well. Disagreeing with me, CBGB is not a great movie. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. And Hilly Castell, that is the name, saw Patti Smith at CBGB, so maybe a much more proper person to rate the movie. It was a little clean for a punk movie that we saw already. Jesse, not a very good movie. So much for my review of movies. That's cool though. Someone again. Christian, a great choice. Love the Cramps t-shirt. We talked about that one. And this one, we'll talk about that. Did Nirvana take Nevermind as the inspiration for the song Nevermind? We'll talk about that as well. So there's a couple of the comments. Christian, go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I was just saying that was an interesting comment there with the whole Nevermind. With Nevermind, I'd never made that connection before, that maybe Nevermind had come from Nevermind the Bollocks. Maybe not. I don't know. Not
Could
sure.
have been. Could have been. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think that Pistols album is one you will find in a collection. It's like AC/DC at a party, at least back in the 70s. There was a bunch of people that didn't like them and a bunch of people that did like them, but they always got played at a party and everybody kind of enjoyed it. I think that Pistols album is one that is pretty much in most collections, maybe not everywhere. So I mentioned earlier that there is not a bend over here, that there's not a big punk scene in Canada. There are some classics, though. There are some good ones. And although it's not massive, huge, there are some good bands. One of them out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, which is that way from me. Anyway, is a band called Propaganda. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with or not, but a little more on the hardcore side, but really, really good stuff. They've been around for a long time. They've got a brand new album out, but there's just a couple. There's Supporting Cast, and there is Potemkin City Limits, and there is Failed States as well. So good stuff. I listened to all three of them yesterday. I hadn't listened to them for a little while. Again, maybe not the traditional punk that we think of when we think of the Ramones, when we think of the Dead Kennedys, when we think of the Sex Pistols. There is certainly that, but and I know I keep saying it, I'm going to stop saying it. There are so many other versions of, and these guys have shades of that, but then they also get a little heavier and a little more, not metal, because that's not the case, but just a little more heavier. It's not that punk wasn't heavy. There was still a lot of, there was still a lot of aspects of that, but and that's how Motorhead can get kind of lumped into that as well. The speed, punk and speed were always, and not speed, because I've only done cocaine once, but there he is. But I mean, I think that is a deciding factor of whether it's punk or not, and that's not necessarily the case. But there are lots of different kinds. Okay, Chris, there you go. I got my cocaine reference in for you, buddy.
Fantastic.
It was a good, when you said, punk with speed, Yeah, especially when the 80s hit. I mean, they really began to rev it up. In the 70s, it just, really, if you listen to Sex Pistols, it's not necessarily super fast, but just the American scene really, and maybe it was all the cocaine they were taking. I don't know that, we stopped the heroin because heroin kind of slows everything down. Let's just speed it up. There's some amphetamines or whatever. And it did wonders for the Velvet Underground.
It did. It certainly did.
Yeah.
I think it's all relative as well, Steve. I mean, it's a really good point that, because I suppose that when the Ramones and the Pistols and groups like that came around in the first wave, then comparatively they were playing a lot faster than the groups that they were rebelling against. So all these prog groups who were playing 20-minute long solos and stuff, that they were almost trying to rip up that book and think, well, you don't have to have been to music school to get up on stage and thrash 4 chords out. And I suppose in that regard, listening to the Ramones for the very first time and the Pistols back in at that time, that was so, I guess, revolutionary and very, very exciting, because it was being played quicker than anything maybe that had been around at that point, apart from obviously your 50s old school rock and roll stuff. But then, as you quite rightly mentioned, I think then as the Pistols and all those groups went on to inspire the bands that came after them, it seems that the speedometer just went further and further up, to the point where you're getting into, as you say, your hardcore and thrash, and people are playing bands like Husker Du, who I think at one point were officially the fastest band in the world when they did the Land Speed Record EP, and they were just playing so quick that there was almost like friction coming off the strings, sort of thing. It's ridiculous, really. But I guess it is a really, really nice point of conversation with this, because I do think speed, in terms of sonically playing quickly, it can't help but be part of that whole punk DNA. And I think as well, it gave people permission that it was okay to play loud and it was okay to play fast. I think up until that stage, it was always about technique and having to show everything being played perfectly and beautifully, or all your notes had to be beautifully played and no distortion and all that. And I think punk just thought, you know what, let's just tear it up and just do it all over again. And I think putting that speed into the music, I think, is really powerful. And even when you listen to those records now that we've been talking about here tonight, I think they still sound really fresh, even though the anti-speed wise has gone up as the years have gone by.
Just real quick before we get to Ian. So as a not a final point on the speed thing. So this is called Short Music for Short People. It's Fat Wreck Records. It is 101 songs on one album, and it's not a K-Tel album, but they're all 30 seconds. So it's 101 different bands playing 30-second songs. Now, obviously, they're not the full songs, but it's all punk. It's Blink-182. Swingin' Utters are on here. DOA is on here. The Vandals, Pennywise, Bad Religion, Arrow Bitch. It is, I think Fat Wreck is pretty much a punk label for the most part. And there is a little bit of everybody on here. Snuff, Satanic Surfers, 10-Foot Pole. So, I think that just kind of, it just lends itself to that. And that just kind of proves the point. You can get 101 different songs as long as they're all 30 seconds long on one album. It doesn't sound very sonically good, but it's fun. It's fun to listen to.
Incredible. Wow. Must be a record, that, surely. No pun intended. A record-breaking record. It must be.
You would
have
think,
that many songs on it, that many bands. I can't think of anyone else who's done that.
If you can find it, it's pretty cool, too. It's got a whole booklet. It's got all the bands, and it's got a whole bunch of old posters and things like, there we go. It's got old posters and things like that. So there you go. AFI, there's another one of the originals and things like that. So Kill Switch, again, it's got a little bit of metal, but it's got Green Day on it. It's got a little bit of everything. So it's pretty cool if you can find it. Is it a good listen on a regular basis? No, probably not, but it's fun to listen to for sure. Every once in a while, throw it on and listen to 101 different bands in one sitting. So,
cool. Right. Ian, we'll come over to you, mate.
I've gone this classic, Germs GI. So this is a first pressing I managed to get about 3 years ago. I was quite pumped to get this. So for those who don't really know much about Germs, only ever really released this one album, released a lot of like bootleg, like live stuff as well. But for those that know about the Germs live they weren't the best, because even though the band were all playing, Darby Crash, who was the lead singer at the time, so he was only 22, but he was a major heroin addict amongst other things, and he would often turn up, go on stage, high as a kite, forget the words, forget to put the mic next to his mouth. So there'd be a lot of stuff like that, a lot of fights breaking out. So yeah, live they weren't great. So a lot of people do release like Germs live bootlegs, and they sound awful. They're the worst records you could probably get. You could just about make out what they're, probably with some overdubs as well by the producer doing the part of Darby Crash. But yeah, so Chris, do you know much about this one?
I've seen it on Instagram. You've put it on. Seen it.
So as you're a big Foo Fighters fan, you might know that guy here. So that's Pat Smear from the Foo Fighters.
Shut the front door.
So
Wow.
obviously massively influential within the Californian punk scene, and the amount of bands, like obviously he was in Nirvana and stuff like that before. But he just like a session musician as well for a lot of bands, a step in for a lot of punk bands around the scene. So he just kept going from this. So this came out in 1979 initially. So his Darby Crash here. So yeah, like I said, tragically passed away at the age of 22 from a heroin overdose, but didn't get the publicity because a little known artist called John Lennon unfortunately passed away the day after. So that took all the news headlines, and Darby Crash didn't really get a huge mention apart from the local scene of California about his passing. But yeah, absolutely incredible album. It could be considered the first hardcore record. I mean, a lot of people put it down to like Out of Vogue by the Middle Class and stuff like that. But bar a few months apart, I mean, this is very fast and all quite raw. But absolutely incredible record. If you can find it, I know there's quite a few reissues of this as well. So definitely, Chris, if you see it out on the travels,
Foo Fighters fan, I've got to pick it up.
yeah, so definitely pick this one up. But yeah, it's a great listen.
That's a lovely piece to have here in your collection. That fair play. Yeah. That's awesome, that Ian. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
when did that come out then, mate? When did that album come out?
1979.
79. Wow.
Okay. This is going to cost me money. Joe, do you want to go through the comments real quick before we go to the next one?
Yeah, let's do this one. Here we go. Yeah. Just Alex talking about a band that does the combo that we were talking about earlier of punk and prog pretty well. I'm not familiar with the Cardiacs. Maybe Ian, or I'm not sure. But Alex is our prog expert when we need a prog expert, right? So he's a prog expert. He knows lots of other stuff as well, though. So that is that. And then
sorry, Alex, you done an amazing interview the other day, mate. I have watched a bit of it. I'm due to watch the end of it tomorrow. So well done.
Yeah, go and check it out. Beer and Vinyl. It's a really, really good interview of some of his heroes, I think, a band that he has watched for a long, long time. So go and check that out. I will give you no spoiler alert. Protest the Hero, Canadian band, again, does a good job of the prog, heavy, punky kind of a mix. And let's talk about Jesse's one more time here. Christian's comments remind me of the famous post, 3 chords, AED, now start a band. And I guess that's it, right? I mean, Sid Vicious was in arguably the biggest punk band in the world and probably couldn't play a note before he started. And then maybe even after he started, probably couldn't play a whole hell of a lot of notes after. So it's like that helped as well. That helped that scene, right? Because you could get away with 3 chords. I mean, AC/DC's got 3 chords and Punk's got 3 chords, and it's 2 of my favorite styles of music. So all I really need, I guess, is 3 chords. Unlike you prog people who have 18 billion different things going on all at the same time. Settle down a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. I pissed off all the prog people. Anyway, whose turn is it? It might be your turn. I don't know. No, maybe it's Steve's turn.
Pick a mix.
Christian's
random one.
turn. It's Christian's turn.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. So coming up next, then, yeah, I have gone for a studio album this time. I've gone for the Clash's debut. So I had to choose this. I do think it's an essential album for anyone's collection if they are looking to specialise on UK punk in particular. And what I love about this record is just how angry and fiery it sounds even all these years later. I do have a bias towards it again because it was such a big influence on the Manics. So in contrast to Buzzcocks, the Clash were coming from a much more political slant lyrically. Certainly in Joe Strummer, they had a performer who arguably, along with Johnny Rotten, did become, almost like the spokesperson for the punk generation. There may be people that disagree with that or have their own take on that, but I would say that Strummer and Rotten were definitely the forefront in terms of their lyrical output. I absolutely love as well the fact that you've got Terry Chimes drumming on this record, who appears under the brilliant name of Tory Crimes. That always makes me laugh. So he was on this record before Topper Headon joined the group. And then, of course, you've got Paul Simon on the bass, brilliant player who only went on to get better and better as the Clash progressed through their career. And then you've got the one and only Mick Jones on guitar and vocals as well with Joe. So some of my favourite songs on here, you've got Janie Jones on here, which is one of the greatest opening tracks ever. Remote Control is fantastic. I'm So Bored with the USA is a great song. It's got White Riot on here as well. It's also got a bit of, I suppose, fame or notoriety because it does have a version of Police and Thieves on here, the Junior Murvin song, which showed from the early outset that the Clash had a bit of a reggae influence going on in their grooves right from the start, and they went on to explore the reggae side and many other genres as their career continued to progress. And it's also got the song on here, What's My Name, as well, which was co-written with Keith Levine. So Keith Levine was in the Clash at one point, and he left the Clash, and then later on, he went on to form Public Image Limited with John Lydon, as he then became known after he was Johnny Rotten. So What's My Name is a great fiery punk song as well. So if you're looking to get something here that's essential, again, it's an all killer, no filler record. It's a landmark album for a reason within the punk sphere. Then please do get your hands on the self-titled debut album by The Clash. Great album, that. And I do think it stands up very well to this day.
I think Pill is actually going out on tour and doing a few dates this year. And I don't know if there's new music or not, but I thought I saw that. I could stand to be corrected yet again because I never profess to know everything that I say. I only say things.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I saw that.
They've just done a UK tour. They were in the Tram Shed in Cardiff, which I missed out on. I know David Atkinson and Gav Axman Spins and the rest of the guys. They went up. Gav couldn't go because he got stuck in snow. His street wasn't clear, so he's a bit tamping about that.
Yeah, he got snowed in. Yeah, he couldn't get to Pill, could he? Yeah, no, that was such a shame. But yeah, I mean, he's still out there doing his thing, isn't he, John Lydon? And again, I mean, Pill. We've not even mentioned post-punk tonight. I don't think. Again, another, not technically an offshoot of punk, but you had punks who were once playing punk who then started playing post-punk, where it was just permission for them to start introducing lots of different sounds into what they were already doing. So, yeah, I do think it's fascinating that for such a genre or a period in musical history with such a short lifespan as punk was, that it just made this unbelievable impact that's still being felt here and now in 2026. It's quite incredible, really.
I think it's a bit ironic, or possibly the least punk excuse for not making a show is I was stuck in a snowstorm. That might be the least punk excuse I think ever. I could be wrong, maybe not, but
he wasn't happy at all.
Oh, I felt really sorry for Gav. He was gutted, wasn't he? Yeah, it was really bad snow. Yeah,
David went up on his own. Now, when we say snow, obviously, Joe, we don't live in Canada, mate. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not on the same level.
No, Yeah, whatever.
It was
Quick,
a smatter in the snow compared to Canada, I think. Yeah, but
yeah, exactly. Jesse's got to go, but Ace, thanks for coming, and wanted to mention the Ruts. And yes, that's a band that I am a little familiar with, not crazy familiar with, but the Ruts. And again, Ian and or our good friend with the Cramps t-shirt might be able to talk a little bit to the Ruts as well, possibly, I think. So
I actually don't have any Ruts. I'm sorry, Jesse.
Same,
I
yeah.
hang my head.
Yeah.
I hang my head in shame.
okay. Well, show us something then that you do have. How about that?
All right. Well, I like Christian's point. I mean, the Clash, that was so political. And podcasts I do with my buddy Jim Gleason. A couple weeks ago, we did a thing, U.S. versus U.K. punk in the 70s. I'm very much a U.K. punk because of the political aspects of it. I mean, and a lot of the U.S. punk wasn't, hey ho, let's go. But come the 80s, we elected Ronald Reagan, and it allowed us to really go political within the U.S. and the Dead Kennedys. Oh my gosh, this is one of those albums again that just blows my socks off, and it's funny as all get out. But I mean, there's some serious crap going on in this. I mean, East Bay Ray on guitar, Class Floridine on bass, Ted is the drummer, just Ted, and of course Jello Biafra. But it says "Kill the Poor," "Forward to Death," "When You Get Drafted," "Lynch the Landlord," "Chemical Warfare," "Kill the Children," "California Uber Alice." "Holidays in Cambodia" is one of my all-time favorite songs. This has obviously the has the heads on there. This is the very first one, came out in orange. Dead Kennedys looked at it and go, "What the hell did you do? We don't want that in orange." And so it was pulled from the market. And so this is kind of a must-have for me to get this particular color. But they really had something to say. There was so much anger in here. They did a little tongue-in-cheek with their lyrics, but they were quite serious about what was happening and what was going on, and how the rich, were all elitist and not caring up, just stomping on everybody. And this is just fueled with excitement. So again, an album I put on, and I just don't get bored. I mean, I can listen to it over and over. And I kind of like that with a lot of the punk music, is when they have something to say. And they really did. And some groups just did a phenomenal job at that. I think back to Stiff Little Fingers, again, one of my all-time favorite albums. They had something to say. And they're angry. And, what's better than angry punk?
yeah,
I love angry punk.
absolutely.
I mean, Christian, I love the Buzzcocks. I love that one. And Orgasm Addict. I mean, that's an awesome song.
It's hilarious.
Yes. But, I do like some hot sauce on my punk. Make them hot and angry.
Well, you couldn't see because you were the full screen, but I think all four of us actually clapped when you showed the Dead Kennedys album, because we knew we were getting there. They're Mount Rushmore, those guys for sure. As far as punk goes, so I've
never seen that pressing either. That is unbelievable. I've heard of that pressing. I've never seen a copy of it. That's incredible that you've got a copy of that.
I had to. It took me a number of years to finally come up with it. It was a grail, shall we say?
Absolutely, that is unquestionably a grail. Yeah, that's awesome, Steve. You've got that. Yeah, I've never seen anybody hold that up in the VC or anything. So for you to I'm quite speechless seeing that one, actually.
Thank you.
I did have a look quick on Amazon while he was showing that, and I was like, no, it's not on there. I've actually got on Amazon, I've got a vinyl community list. So when anybody recommends stuff, I add it, like I like it, and then it goes into my vinyl list. Wow. And then what I do later on, I go and listen to it. I have a quick stream to see what it's all about. But then Steve shows something, it's not available. It's like this. So cool. I'm going to show a new pickup.
Oh.
So, pick this up in Pontypridd. Ian knows what this is going to be. Am I pronouncing this right? Is it Dirgy? Ian?
I've always just said dirge.
Okay, Dirge. We'll go with Dirge.
Yeah.
Pick this up. Took a bit of a risk on this one. There's the front. There's the back. Got to put my glasses on for this. Sorry, I can't see. Dirge is a French post-metal punk band formed in 1994 from the industry metal genre and punk, and were quite big in the 90s in France. So
Wow, interesting.
I've seen this cover before. I don't know if Ian showed it
It's,
somewhere, but
it's so they've taken inspiration from Crass.
Mm.
So Crass have done a lot of covers like that, and they, you know, with the words in the circles and stuff like that. So it's probably influenced a lot by that. But yeah, it's very crusty. So
Yes.
the term crust punk, so made famous by Discharge, probably, and probably, and in that sort of realm. But like you said, like, you know, it's a pretty cool find to get, especially like I said, like just to find this stuff in Wales is just weird.
and in Pontypridd.
Yeah, and in Pontypridd, which isn't it isn't the hotbed for
No.
vinyl.
Well,
And
Yeah, there was a
Yeah,
record
so-
shop in the back of Pontypridd Market because I was just walking
Yeah.
through. I was looking for food, in fact, and I was like, "Oh, there's a record shop." That was the time to do it. And people have commented like they enjoy my walking around and finding random
Yeah.
stuff. Picked that one up, and from the same shop, I will show it real quick. Pick this one up.
Oh,
So
that's it.
Steve's influence on this one, because
Yeah.
I did. I've got a live album that I was going to show. This just came on black vinyl. I don't think there's any gatefold of this one. No, sorry, Joe. No gatefold this one. It's
It's
just
all good. It's all good.
This was 180 gram Rhino vinyl, 2016 remastered audio. So there you go.
Nice.
There's a bit of the Ramones for you.
Question for the panel. I am not familiar with, but maybe someone else is. Jello, obviously from Dead Kennedys, and then Al Jorgensen Project. There you
No.
go. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow, Steve's got
clearly
it. That's fantastic.
someone is. So
Yeah.
let's make Steve big for a second, and we'll get to Ian right away. Yeah,
I'm big. I'm big. Come on.
you're big. You're big.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I bought this album because of the cover. I go, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's just gross. So I'm buying it.
Well, there you
Wow.
go. Perfect. All
Never
right.
even heard of that. But I do love Ministry as well, and I love Dead Kennedys, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Definitely.
That's
Yeah.
All right. Are we moving on there, Mr. Man?
Yeah. I think you're next, mate. You're the
All
first
right.
one.
Then I believe it is Ian's turn.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I would put another classic. So this is Boston hardcore at its finest. So this is The Kids Will Have Their Say by SSD Control. This is fast, raw, straight edge hardcore. So they're going down like obviously there was a huge straight edge community. You know, the no drugs, no alcohol, wearing the crosses on your fists sort of community within the punk scene. Now I like a lot of straight edge bands, like SSD Control and Minor Threat, and bands like that. But I never really. Well, I'm way out of that year, on that time scale anyway. So I appreciate it, but I do like my alcoholic beverages. So yeah, it's not. It's not the route I'd go down, but yeah, like I said, I could really appreciate it. But this album here is this was a grail of mine. I know the term grail gets bandied around a lot, but this was like a proper grail of mine. And I've been while I've been having my page on Instagram and stuff, I've formed like a pretty nice group of people that I've interacted with through DMs and stuff like that, that are involved in the scene now, involved in the scene, back then. And unfortunately, Al Baril passed away last year after a long fight with cancer. So he was the guitarist of this band and instrumental in their look. So he's actually the one wearing this jacket here, saying straight edge. He had a tendency to do a lot of like flying kicks in the air while playing the guitar, and looked very cool in his Nike Blazers. But I just happened to form like a really good chat with his wife on there last year, and she actually had stock in her in their loft space in their attic, and she asked if I'd be interested in this for a good price. So I was like, yeah, why not? That's amazing. Yeah, no, thank you very much. It arrived and it was signed by Al Baril himself.
Wow.
Nice.
Saying like glue, like crew, and which is a line from one of the songs from their EP, Get It Away, which is their EP, second follow-up EP, which I think is better than this. But yeah, so yeah, I was proper buzzing to receive that, and yeah, it's now one of my most cherished possessions in my collection. It's not one that I think I'd ever get rid of. If something like that happens to me, I want to. It becomes very sentimental to me. So yeah, it's one that I will cherish for a very long time.
Well done, mate. Definitely a keeper, that one.
Thank
Beautiful,
you.
that.
Yeah.
Cool. And then there's more meaning behind that album for you, obviously, because you're getting it directly from his wife.
Yeah,
which
Of
is
course,
really
yeah.
special,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So cool. Very cool story. Well done. I'll have to check it out. I'm writing as we speak.
yeah. Chris is going to have another long list after today.
Yeah, when's payday? When's payday?
You know, I keep telling you it's cheaper than cocaine.
Right. Okay. Whose turn is it now? Is it Christian's turn? I can't remember. Steve's?
Joe.
Christian. Joe? Oh, sorry.
Joe.
I've left him out completely.
Close
That's
to
all right.
them,
I'm doing really good at keeping track of this. So we're doing well, okay?
He did pretty good. He got it. He got there eventually with a little help from his friends, but that's all right. So, yeah, let's go with a couple of we'll do two at a time here because we'll go a couple Canadian. I actually all the stuff I pulled was Canadian, so this may mean nothing to anybody besides me and Warp Dog, who's also from Canada. But we'll start off with a band out of Hamilton, Ontario. And that is Teenage Head. Now, I think maybe they are well enough known that they might have gone maybe across the pond, possibly, not sure, maybe into the States a little bit, but they've got a little bit more of a rockabilly feel to them, but they are still considered punk royalty here in Canada. Again, the speed aspect falls into it a little bit, but Let's Shake, I'm sure maybe some have heard that one, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff on here, really good. They're on the Attic label, the Canadian classic Attic label, but Teenage Head out of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, really good stuff. Check that one out. Frantic City, Let's Shake, look for that song specifically. And then DOA, the Northern Avengers. These guys are fantastic. They are out of Edmonton, if memory serves me correctly. And these guys would be probably the godfathers or the grandfathers. They're either the grandfathers or the godfathers, and Teenage Head is the other. As far as punk goes in Canada, for the most part, not completely, but we'll give them that classification for right now. But really good. I think maybe maybe most will know there's a song called The Hockey Song by a Stompin' Tom Connors, which has nothing to do with punk in any way, shape, or form. But there's a song on here called Donnybrook, which is the punk version of the hockey song. Sometimes they'll play that instead of the Stompin' Tom, which is more of a traditional folk song. But good stuff. DOA out of Edmonton, Alberta. I believe Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Saskatchewan. Good Lord. Anyway, not that it really matters where they're from specifically, but just good stuff. So look them up. DOA. This is, I think, maybe their 4th out of 7 albums that they put out. Maybe still doing stuff. Joe Shithead is the lead singer, or one of the lead singers anyway, and good stuff. So check out DOA if you get a chance. Chris, write them down, my friend. DOA.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this again. I can't keep up.
Teenage Head's really good too.
I feel like I've heard of DOA before.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've shown them before on stuff for sure, but
right.
They might have had a little bit of a following. So
Warpig is saying to you, yes, yes, dude. I know the manager for Teenage Head and Forgotten Rebels. Teenage Head was more punk live.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Where if you saw them perform, it was a little bit more of a punk show than maybe then, especially that one single, Let's Shake lends itself to. But good stuff, and certainly fall into the right category. So
cool. I'm learning stuff. See, I love this. I'm learning stuff. It's costing me a fortune, but I'm learning stuff.
Yeah.
Who said learning was cheap, Chris?
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to let the cocaine slide, but I think most of these artists and bands we're showing tonight were highly influenced, shall we say, on certain substances. I can't even get my words up. But yes, it's, would the Sex Pistols be where they were kind of thing, without the drugs? So it's kind of, it's cool. I'm loving this tonight. I'm absolutely loving it. Being as we've gone, last one was Joe. There's a little promotion that I want to cover with Joe this evening. Joe, do you want to explain to everybody what it is?
Well, I think you're talking about my game show that I run, which is Rock and Roll Jeopardy, because we can't call it Jeopardy. It's just rock and roll trivia. 3 contestants. It's exactly what you think it is. When I say Jeopardy, it's like Jeopardy, but we can't call it that. And it's all music related. It's on every Monday night, and will continue to be as long as I continue to find contestants. So if you're out there and you want to come on, please do. You don't have to know all the answers. You just have to come on and have some fun. It's good. Chris was on, and I've got a brand new episode on Monday with 3 new contestants no one's been on before, but 2 brand new contestants that haven't been on before. And then I've got a couple more recorded that are going to come out. But yeah, always looking for contestants. So if you're out there, and here's just, I assume you're going to play the little bit if you want. Yeah, just play that quick or whatever. So there's no doubt that this is one of the most recognizable boy bands in pop music. The biggest hit they had on the Hot 100 is Quit Playing Games With My Heart, which reached number 2. Monica.
NSYNC.
No.
It's the other one.
Daryl.
Backstreet Boys.
It's the one.
It was one of them.
Not really. There was only 2, but yeah, it's the other one, kind of. So
the other boy band.
I can't believe the Backstreet Boys didn't have a number 1.
That is crazy.
You would have thought that would have just been for sure, but yeah. So a good producer probably would have found more of a punk rock question than a boy band. But what the hell. But yeah, the 3 were fun to have on. It's just been a ton of fun. We have, we play for about an hour. There's 2 rounds, and it's just a ton of fun. So if you're out there and you want to play, let me know, and look for it on my channel on Monday nights. They debut, we'll call it. So
cool.
And Chris got 87% of his questions correct.
Wow, well, Chris, well done.
That you rang in on.
Yes.
So, yeah. Something like that. So
wow.
It was we did it was a UK version of the questions, and of course I had Richard from Richard's Vinyl Tap House, who's more British than I am. So
that's right. Yeah.
He was kind of better than I. Anyway, watch it. It was a lot of fun. I think at one time Joe was like, "Is your buzzer working?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't know the answer."
You have to actually push the buzzer, mate. Yes, have at her. But anyway, thanks for letting me promo it, and it's a ton of fun. So
cool. Right, I think Christian was it?
Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, Steve. Cheers, Chris. That was brilliant. That was really, really good seeing that there with Joe Paddy. So yeah, I've got another album coming up, another studio one. So tonight we've already discussed or covered like the Pistols and the Clash, but I feel that the sort of the Trinity in UK punk, the other piece of that triangle, so to speak, would be the Damned.
Yeah.
So this is Damned by the Damned. Brilliant album. And just want to spend a little bit of time talking about it. So something that I thought might be interesting for us to discuss as well between us is this old argument, or maybe this misconception perhaps in the earlier years of punk, was that punks couldn't actually play their instruments. And I think a lot of the bands that we've all been talking about tonight very, very much prove that to be false. You get a lot of punks who are superb musicians, and the Damned were no exception. So you've got Captain Sensible here, who was playing bass in the band at this point, but he is a phenomenal guitar player. Went on to do incredible things with the Damned in his guitar years later on, but he's on bass here, and he came from a prog rock background. You got Brian James over here, who's got some absolutely fiery guitar playing going on here on songs like Neat, Neat, Neat and New Rose. Rat Scabies, incredible drummer, so powerful. If you love your drums in sort of the style of Keith Moon, that type of thing, very powerful, lots of fills, almost playing to a point where you actually wonder how he gets all the drum parts in within the time that he's playing, then please do check Rat out. And then you've got a very, very interesting vocalist here in Dave Vanian. And his sort of image, for anyone who may not be familiar with the Damned, was actually quite gothic, almost quite inspired by, the sort of the horror realm. I think he might have been a bit of a Hammer horror fan. And I've always wondered whether Dave Vanian and Lux Interior ever got together over the years and had a chat, because I feel that Dave and Lux might have been kindred spirits when it came to maybe trading notes on how to be the frontman of a band. So the Damned are a great group. This is a really essential record. I mean, you can see Dave's get up here. I mean, you can see there with the white, the white makeup on and the black lips and everything. They really were a motley crew in terms of looking at them. They didn't really have a cohesive style. I mean, you've got the captain over here with a dress on, and he usually had a beret on as well. You've got him looking cool as anything. Looks like he might be in the MC5 or something over here, and then you've got Rat at the back. So they looked visually very arresting, but they didn't sort of look cohesive. And musically, this goes all over the place. You've got a great cover of "I Feel All Right" on here, which was the Stooges songs on here. "Stab Your Back," he's just repeating the word "stab your back" over again for about a minute. I've already mentioned Neat, Neat, Neat and New Rose, which are two essential punk anthems. Fan Club is brilliant as well on here. So I do think that if you are looking to continue to acquire essential UK punk albums, then please do not pass up on Damned by the Damned.
Yeah, Chris, if you haven't already, write that one down.
Yeah.
For sure.
You need that one, Chris. You 100% need that one.
Yeah.
That one took me a long time to find an original too. In the US, it just wasn't around. And man, I searched and searched. Finally I found it. And they go, again, it's like
it's one of those albums, isn't it? It's just, once you've heard it, it's like wow. And it is very rough, it's very raw. I should mention actually, just of interest, I didn't mention that, apologies. This was actually produced by Nick Lowe. Nick Lowe, the famous sort of power pop pub rock songwriter, who was in like Brinsley Schwartz, and obviously had a very successful solo career, but he did produce this, and it does sound very rough and very ready. I don't think many takes were being done. I think it was probably just a case of, let's just do a take, get it bashed out, get it recorded and stick it on the record. But it sounds all the more powerful and all the more exciting for it. So, you're definitely not getting overdubs and stuff in here. It's very, very fussed up. But if you just want some really primal sounding punk that really captures the age that it came out in, then I think Damned, along with Nevermind the Bollocks, is essential, really.
Yep. Agree.
Question for you from Writer Girl.
So this is my wife. This is Michelle here. Hi, Michelle. She must be watching downstairs. So what's Mrs. Ewan said? Was it Stab Your Back we listened to when we were trying to figure out if the album had a skip in it? It was indeed, yeah. So what happened very quickly is that copy there that I've just shown you, I picked that up on my birthday. I was shopping around Liverpool for records, and we went into a branch of Oxfam, and that was available for £20, that damned copy. It is an original copy, so I did get that from a Liverpool branch of Oxfam. It is pretty scratched up, and we took it to a cafe in Liverpool when we were getting a bit of lunch, where they had turntables and a bit of a breakout area. And the worst song I could possibly have chosen to check if this thing skipped was Stab Your Back, because you would just think it was stuck. It is just Stab Your Back, stab it over and over again. And myself and my wife laugh about it to this day, because, I should have just stuck neat on something, and I went straight for Stab Your Back, and we couldn't work out if it was sticking or not because of the repetition of the track itself. Luckily, I can say it does play through perfectly well. It has seen better days. It's a very well-loved copy, but very, very pleased to have it, because as Steve said, this is one that I spent a long time searching around for in the wild, and I didn't think I would find it in a local charity shop, but I got lucky on that day, and I was more than happy to pay the 20 quid for it as well. So, wow. Yeah, so that's the story for that one. So yeah, Stab Your Back is definitely one to listen to, but probably not the best song on that album. No.
How the hell did you find that in Oxfam?
Honestly, Chris, it was just there. It was in a cabinet, glass cabinet. It had some handbags and shoes and stuff around it. I saw it. I had to do a double take, because I thought to myself, is that maybe just like a photograph from maybe a magazine that I couldn't tell straight away that it was the record. Obviously, I recognised the front cover because I had it on CD years ago. And then I just went straight over to the lady working there and said, can I please take a look at that? I got it out, as I said. It was beaten up to look at. They didn't have a turntable or anything that I could try it on, but I just thought, you know what? It's for charity anyway. I'm more than happy to pay the money. I'll just take it back, and if it plays, it plays. Because she kept saying to me, if it doesn't play, bring it back. I said, no. I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, I'll just take it anyway. If anything, I can just keep it for the artwork. But luckily, I did play it, and it played through perfectly well, and I was utterly over the moon. Plus the fact that it was on my birthday when I found it was a nice bonus as well. So yeah, I'm really laughing actually now that Michelle brought that up, because we still have a laugh about that all these years later, that we were trying to figure out whether the record was actually working or not. But yeah, it does. It plays through fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's a great album, I have to say. It's a great album, that one. Yeah.
Oh God, it's costing money.
You'll be okay. Look, I would be remiss if we didn't put this up there, because everybody loves what everybody loves. So New Kids on the Block, a little bit
Absolutely.
of love. That's right. Exactly. There you go. Okay. Now, who do you want to cost you money? I think it's Steve's turn to cost you money, isn't it?
Yeah, go on and go for it. Keep going.
Okay, here we go.
All right. We're going to go with brand new punk, okay? It's a group last year, actually. Their album they put out last year was one of my all-time favorite albums of the year. It made my list. This is it's called Die Spitz, and this is 2 EPs. So this came out a couple years before. Nice autographed copy of it. Die Spitz is a 4-piece band, all female. They trade off instruments. They just, hey, I'll do bass, I'll do drums, whatever. It can be, there's some metal in it, definitely punk. They have this attitude. It's just incredible. I mean, they are fun. You can find their concerts on YouTube all over this place. Just type in Die Spitz and boom, up they come. And they have so much energy. It's exciting to see, a group like this, and this all, female group. I think like L7, something, it's like that, just this power, and they come out, and man, this would be a group I'd like to see in concert. I don't know, I might get beat up or something there. Who's the old guy? So, but beautiful vinyl came on, nice smoky vinyl, and I'm totally. They've only had the one album. They have the 2 EPs here that they put together on this, and then one full album. Again, it came out last year. Die by the Sword, I think. I tried to. I don't know where the hell I filed it. It should be under DIE, and so it's an old age thing, I guess. But Die Spitz, and this is Teeth, and the other side is Evangeline. I mean, awesome cover art. So good new punk that's coming out there with a middle edge.
Yeah, very interesting looking, that one. Yeah.
Well worth looking into.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a cover.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest, you're gonna notice that in a record shop.
Yes, you would. Luckily,
There's a
Bandcamp.
There's
Yeah.
a ringing endorsement from Trevor, and I trust Trevor. So there you go. Not that
wow.
I don't
All
trust
right.
you.
Yeah,
I also
wow.
trust you, but there is another ringing endorsement as well. So
Right.
Cool. Right. For something completely different.
you? All right.
Punk. Would you put punk pop? They're from America. It's the band Less Than Jake, who was supporting Bowling for Soup in Cardiff, I think, about 2 years ago. I know Nick from the Vinyl Den showed this one. I was like, this looks cool. How many tracks are on there, guys?
Wow. Oh, it's a double disc, or is it that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Showing the inside. This is cool. Like a cartoon effect going on.
Yeah.
And inside of this, you have got. I'll show it. So there's a full booklet here, a story.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice.
So something a bit more quirky. You can't buy this online. You have to buy this album when they are playing live in concert.
Ah.
So, right, let's do a quick quiz then, because I love doing this. Right, guys, what color vinyl or splattered vinyl do you think this came on?
Pink.
Red,
Ooh.
red and
I was gonna
blue.
say pink. Green.
Red and blue.
Orange.
What did you say, Chris?
Pink.
Pink. Okay.
Oh no, I said green. Sorry, I was going to say pink. No, sorry, I think Joe said pink. I'll go for green. I don't want to take Joe's answer. Yeah, green. Oh wow,
Was.
Kind
So-
of pink.
This is pink and yellow.
pink
My
and yellow.
lighting is crap. That's the first side. So they say that down as cornetto color.
Yeah.
And what are the colors that other people say?
I don't know. Art.
Orange.
Oh.
Blue and red. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's-
That's
It's really cool. Very American punk, 2000s era. But yeah, I love it. That's the kind of album you don't put that on a Sunday morning. Because I put it on a Sunday morning and Liz has come in, for the love of God, turn that down. The kid's still in bed. So
looks
amazing.
great.
They were amazing live. Absolutely brilliant. They kind of they come out about the same time as kind of well, not Blink, but like Sub 41 and those kind of bands that came from America. Didn't make it massive in Britain, but kind of you kind of knew who they were, because at the time Ian and Chris will tell you Kerrang TV was like kind of it was massive. And they were constantly on there. But yeah, it's the pressings are just outstanding. I love the way they put on you as well. So they put on you, they're supposed to be pink and yellow cornetto, which I think of an ice cream. It says limited to 1,000, but it doesn't tell you what number this is.
It's number one.
So the hype sticker is a bit condescending.
Yeah.
So, yes.
You can't get more punk than a bit of condescension, though, can you?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
Everybody can say that theirs is number one that way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
I will show another one while you're on, because I'm just looking at the time here. This I bought. This was recorded in lockdown by a rap artist that's covering punk.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody recognize this cover at all?
Post Malone.
Post.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
It is
bravo, Ian.
Post Malone and Travis Barker covering Nirvana.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they cover songs like Drain You, Come As You Are, Heart Shaped Box, Lithium, Breed, Very Ape, In Bloom. So
I'm definitely going to listen to that. Definitely. That's like pretty much all my favorite Nirvana. Is there Penny Royalty on there as well? That's one of my favorite Nirvana songs.
no, it's not on there.
No, I'll definitely check that out.
This came on. I'm not going to ask you because you'll all get it wrong because it's nothing to do with the front cover because it's green and it's yellow for some reason.
Oh,
So nobody was going to get that one right. But yeah, bit of punk of Post Malone. Ian, how did you know that one, mate?
I've just seen it before. I've seen it. I've seen it around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice one.
You're up, sir.
Me, yeah. I'll do like a smattering of a few, because I know we're tight for time here. So I'm going to go with a few bands from other countries, not like UK or US. So I've been over the last 2 years or so, I've been really trying to branch out and see all the stuff from other countries and like a lot of like non-English speaking like punk bands as well, which like musically they're just great, even though I can't understand really what they're saying, but musically it's they sound perfect and right up my street. So I've got a classic one here, the Kids from Belgium. These actually sing in English, but this is a great sort of late 70s punk record, which I definitely recommend. Gauze from Japan. This is an album called Fuckheads. Sorry for swearing. Yeah, this is brutal as they come when it comes to Japanese hardcore. Japan have got some of the best like hardcore punk bands out there. Negazione from Italy. Again, another incredible hardcore punk band. Got quite a few albums of theirs in my collection, and they're all really different. Kind of slow their tempo down as they go for as they go later on in their career. But yeah, each one is just it's just brilliant. This one, yeah, all in Italian, but like a really, really good record. And this one's a new band following this is Italian as well, from Milan. This is a band called Golpe, I think I'm pronouncing that right. They've released a few EPs. This is their album. Again, proper hardcore as they come, but it just shows that bands, even now in 2025, 2026, are still releasing amazing stuff. You don't have to go all the way back to the early 80s, mid 80s to get your prime hardcore punk. Like if you just search now, there's a lot of labels like Sorry State and Grave Mistake and labels like that in the US that are releasing amazing albums and EPs from bands now that are doing stuff that some is better than the early 80s. But yeah, they're some of those bands from the other countries. But I'm going to give a shout out to the home countries of Wales here. These are a couple from local to me. So there's a record shop in Newport called Criminal Records, which is owned by a guy called Dean Bedis, who I've become good friends with over the last few years, probably from just giving him my money. Yeah, we've formed quite a good relationship to the point of he lets me know when some good stuff's come in, or he's even passed me, 3 stuff for free, and these are 2 records that he's passed me for free. So this is of his own band called Cowboy Killers. So Cowboy Killers were a band from probably the early 90s, and they released a few albums, but this one I always love the cover art of this one because it just reminds me of the mascot for Circle Jerks, doing sort of like a punk skank dance. So but this one he gifted me, which was really nice of him. So Cowboy Killers actually supported a lot of bands, and one of those bands was Green Day in 1992 on Green Day's Kaplunk tour when they came to Newport. So he's got a funny story.
Tell him the story.
Yeah.
Go on. Tell the story.
He's got a funny story of when Green Day stayed at his house when they were touring over Christmas time. So it's a few days before Christmas, and they all slept in sleeping bags underneath his Christmas tree because they needed a place to stay. And he basically, after the gig, said to them, "Right, boys, I've got work in the morning, so you need to be quiet. So call it a night here. No partying, no messing around. I've got work in the morning." About 3 o'clock in the morning, all he could hear was banging, shouting, music playing really loud. And if you know Dean, Dean is a collector in old-time war memorabilia. So he came down the stairs with a samurai sword and was waving it about as a threat of basically, right, you need to keep the noise down. And he just had the 3 teenagers of Green Day jumping around, not knowing what to do in their sleeping bags. And the brilliant thing about this is if you ever read like a Green Day autobiography or anything like that, they will always mention this time when they came to Wales and their crazy guy with a samurai sword was threatening them to keep the noise down. So it's pretty cool that they still mention it to this day. It is and this is a compilation of punk bands from that sort of scene that I was talking about earlier. This is called Bull Sheep Detector, which is a play off the Bullshit Detector compilation that was brought out on Crass Records. But yeah, it's a really, really nice copy. If you ever come across it, I recommend picking it up.
Brilliant. What a story. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you never have to apologize for swearing, because the fact it took us an hour and 48 minutes to get to one F-bomb on a punk show is actually a little depressing. So
There you go.
I don't know if we're doing it right at this point, I guess. But so, yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great. That's great.
Okay, we'll go to the next one, Joe.
Sure. I guess that's me, right? Fine. All right, let's finish it off. I was going all Canadian, so you mentioned them earlier, but I think that you called them American, but they're actually Canadian, and that is Sum 41 and, Fat Lip back to those days. So again, they fall into that category of, a little more poppy punk or whatever, but I'm good with all that. I'm good with the Green Days, the Offsprings of the world. Actually, I saw them open for Offspring a couple years ago, and they were fantastic. No more, unfortunately. They finished up. They said, this is it. This is the last tour. But then millions and millions of other bands have said that as well, so we'll see if that in fact happens or not. Yeah. These guys are out of Toronto, a band called Gob. And I actually had someone comment when I showed this in a video, why the hell did you show that? That picture's gross, but it is. And I get that. But I think that's the point. Foot in Mouth Disease, they're good. I think they've got about 6 or 7 albums out there. This is their 3rd or their 4th in the catalog. But decent, again, out of Toronto, Canada. Good stuff. And Billy Talent, I mentioned them earlier. These guys have been around for a long time. Their lead singer's got one of those voices that you either love or hate. I love it. It's good. They put on a fantastic show all the time. I've seen them a number of different times. They always have great bands opening for them. I saw Against Me open for them. I saw the Cancer Bats, which is another one I wasn't going to show, but I'll show it quick. They opened for them. Alexis on Fire has opened for them. So They are fairly big. They're one of those bands that are big in Europe as well. Sometimes they didn't necessarily hit in the States, but they hit a little bit bigger overseas. So good stuff. Philly talent out of Winnipeg. Winnipeg? No, they're not Winnipeg. That's propaganda. These guys are, I can't remember, Hamilton, I think. Hamilton or Toronto or Montreal or somewhere down east. It's a big bloody country. It's somewhere direction is all I've got for you at this point. So, but good stuff. There's lots of great Canadian. Again, those are all more along the lines of the poppy punk, if we're going to call it that. I don't know what the proper term is, but you know, where it's not the hard driving, it's whatever. It's got a little bit more going on, and I recommend checking them out. They're all very good. Green Day. No, they didn't. Nobody opened for Green Day out of that group, but
I saw Sum 41 when they came to Cardiff 2 years ago. They were amazing.
Yeah, they were really good. Yeah, them and the Offspring. So if you can imagine that as a opening act for the Offspring, it's along the lines of that. If you're not familiar with them, and Fat Lip is the single that probably got a little bit of airplay everywhere, but
that's probably the best album they've ever done, isn't it? That one. That's probably.
Does This Look Infected? The one right after was pretty decent as well. Yeah. But that one was pretty good. I trashed my own house party because nobody came. Is a famous line from one of their songs, so it's good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I think a lot of those bands got lumped into nu metal, didn't they? As a genre. Do you remember like nu metal? That was like a tag that went around for a while, wasn't it? Yeah. I think like Offspring and all those groups kind of got lumped into that with groups like, you know, Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach, and they were all sort of around that time, and I think they just all got chucked in together, really, didn't they? But you definitely had poppier ones, poppier punks, didn't you? Really.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to Steve next. Steve, over to you, mate. What have we got next?
Oh, okay. One more. All right. I'm let's just show my favorite punk album cover of all time. The Angry Samoans.
Oh,
Nice.
Nice.
I mean, what more can you ask for a head being ripped off by something that looks like the creature from Black Lagoon? And this is a nice original from Samoa, the back cover.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, this is just, again, this is one of those that I had to search for. I had to have it. I was just like, oh God, this cover alone on there, and it's off of Bad Trip Records. Yeah, just classic 80s punk, you know, the faster hardcore type punk. I'm no doubt they're out of California. It looks like it's made in California. It's California just, man, they were going nuts with that that hardcore stuff. So fun stuff. Great album cover. It's always out front because it just kind of cracks me up. I don't know. I guess there's a violent streak in me.
Yeah, never heard of that one. Looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a good hardcore.
Exactly.
Right, Christian, bring us home, mate.
Okay, very, very quickly. Got a couple of jam ones here. Both came out in 77. Wanted to mention them because, as I mentioned earlier, they got my gateway into punk through my brother. So thank you, Joseph, for getting me into the jam. Here's my copy of Nevermind the Bollocks. So I think a few of us have obviously shown it already. This is my copy of it. I think Steve before mentioned Stiff Little Fingers, Inflammable Material, brilliant, brilliant record. Famously got a moment in the spotlight on the film High Fidelity, where they're listening to it in the shop, Dick and Anna. And I think somebody overhears it and they say, is this the new Green Day album or the new Green Day record? And they're actually listening to Stiff Little Fingers. And then Stranglers, they're more on the proggier side. Ratus Norvegicus, brilliant album. And then just two more here. Here's another pop punk one. Got the Undertones here with their self-titled debut. That's a Portuguese pressing. So it's got an alternate sleeve to the typical cover that's out there. And then finally, a little bit of art punk to finish. This is Wire with Pink Flag. So if you like your songs short and angular, very arty, quite cerebral lyrics, they're a really great band as well, Wire, Pink Flag. That, for me, is another essential record to get in your punk collection.
Dang, Christian, I had every one of them lined up here.
Oh, I'm joking. Sorry, Steve.
No, that's great. I mean, that's fantastic. It's just like, yes, that's the best of the
We're in alignment. We're in alignment.
Yep.
Cool. Steve, do you want to give your podcast a quick plug that anybody doesn't know? I'll put a description below for all the channels. And
well, thank you. Yeah, two guys talking about records. I do with a record shop owner, Jim Gleason. We've been doing this now for I think we're working on our 3rd year, and there's this week. It's on a conspiracy theory, so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're on the Believe Network. BLEAV is the name network. You can go on to Believe, but it's on YouTube at Radio Wasteland Records, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Facebook. So, we got picked up by a network, and it was kind of fun, very surprising. And so, we just keep doing it, having fun with it.
Cool. I'm really enjoying it. Like, I do enjoy it. I either listen to it, if I'm traveling, I'll listen to it in the car. If I'm in the house, I'll check it on YouTube, and takes me about 3 hours to watch because I gotta stop it and stream whatever he's started showing, as usual. I'd like to thank all my guests this evening. Ian, thank you so much for jumping on, mate, and rushing from London to be on here this evening. Steve, as always a pleasure to have you on, mate. Absolutely love having you on. Christian, thanks again for coming on, mate. Really enjoyed. Good selections tonight, mate. You impressed me. I was like, I thought Steve was gonna cost me the most money, but I think you may at this point. And then my co-host as usual, Joe. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, mate. Joe's doing a quiz. If anybody's interested in doing it, I'll put a description down below so you can check it out. I'd like to thank everybody who's left comments. Everybody's going to watch this later. I do appreciate it. Just before we go, thought I'd mention him. Concert Buddy. Greetings, boys. He's looking forward to that one. So, thanks for everybody for watching this. Watch this later. Me and Joe will be back next week with a different theme, different guests, and hope you can join us then. So from all of us here, have a great evening, great afternoon, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers. Thanks very much.
The final